Greetings, Vault Hunters all across the 6 galaxies. Welcome to the Bordercast. We are live at our usual time, 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific. I'm Mitsu.
And I'm Tessica, coming to you every week to break down all things Borderlands.
As always, we want to take a minute to thank all of our new listeners on iTunes, Spotify, and Stitcher, and those watching live right now on Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, and Steam, or later on the VOD on YouTube. If you're enjoying the program, we would love for you to give us a big ol' like, follow, or favorite, because, I mean, why not?
Please?
That's it. Yeah, please, right?
We'd appreciate
That's it. Everybody else kind of like asks for it, you know? I'm asking for it too.
Yeah. Some ongoing important information for you guys. Tales from the Borderlands is on Nintendo Switch. If you haven't heard, if you have a Switch, why do you not already have this game? It's so good. I love it so much. I need to play it again soon. It's amazing. Go get it for yourself. The Borderlands movie is happening. Penn Jillette is in it, which shouldn't come as a surprise, honestly, but is very, very, very cool. Magician Penn Jillette has a small role in the Borderlands movie. I don't know what that role is.
So, according to IGN, they reported on it, Penn Jillette will be filming in Budapest and plays a preacher overseeing a wedding, which opens up a host of questions that we are going to have to ask and infer about at some point, because why is there a wedding? Was there a wedding in Borderlands 1? There's one in 2. Yeah. There's one in 2 for the Romeo and Juliet Headhunter DLC, but I don't remember one in 1.
But hey, it's a different universe. Also, in the different universe of my brain, I forgot to say hello to the awesome Triple G. Hi, Triple G.
Yes, Triple G here. Hi, Triple G.
No, we're just getting straight into it. Lots to cover. Lots to cover. That's what it is, yeah.
My brain is on rails.
Actually, yeah. Like, everything came together within the past 24 hours. What a surprise. So, yeah, so it says here that he ends up in a quote-unquote space paddy wagon. Jillette makes it clear that most of his scenes are with Kevin Hart, and the part isn't much more than a cameo. He says, and I quote, I have a very, very, very small part. I'm in like 4 scenes and have like 4 lines. So
that actually sounds awesome.
Yeah, I guess it shouldn't come as a surprise at all that, you know, Penn is, of course, involved. Penn is very close friends with Randy Pitchford. They both practice magic. I'm only surprised that it didn't say that Teller was also going to be involved with it. But maybe Teller couldn't make it, or they just didn't really feel like it was appropriate to have him for whatever part that they have. But
it just worked out this way. We don't know why.
It just worked out how it worked out. Sure.
But it's awesome to have at least one of them there. It's very cool.
Yeah.
I think it's a good job that he isn't there, though, because people would just make the jump to Agonizer straight away.
Yeah.
Agonizer would really throw a spanner into the works of the timeline.
That's true. That's fair. That's a fair point. Maybe that's why. Who knows?
So what else do we have, Tess?
So big news, very big news. Not really. Crossplay is coming. It's coming. This is not news. This is something we've been talking about for a while now. It's happening. We still don't have a date for you guys, but it is happening. Like, happening. 100% confirmed happening. We don't know when, but it's coming. Okay, so just please, patience. Maurice's vending machine has moved once more. I don't know where it is.
Triple G, do you know where?
I do, and I'm not going to tell you exactly where it is, but I am going to say that it is in the place with the most purple enemies in Borderlands 3. So.
Oh, I like that hint.
That's a good hint. I like
clever.
the hint instead of the direct. Yeah. Very nice.
Yes.
Very nice. Revenge of the Cartels is coming back.
Ooh.
Super, 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 super exciting. And Endgame Rush, which is part of why we have Triple G here. We have Triple G here because he's awesome and we love having him on the show. But also, he's doing another Endgame Rush event, season 2. It's his community event. It is returning soon, and he will talk about it in a little bit. Before that, how has your last week been? What have you been up to in the worlds of the Borderlands?
I assume this was for you, Triple G.
Yeah.
You're the guest. Please, by all means, go first.
I mean, you forgot I was here a minute ago.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
Oh, jeez.
It's all right. I won't call her out much. I've been a bit of a change of tack for me over streaming over the last few weeks. So usually I'm all about in-game stuff. But over the last kind of probably 3 or 4 weeks since the raid boss, like the hype of the raid boss finished, everyone was killing the raid boss, and it was right, what we're going to do next. I've been doing playthroughs. So we did a Dahl assault rifle only, no action skill Moe's playthrough, which effectively meant we only had, I think it was 7 legendaries to play with, which made me completely and utterly fall in love with the Soul Render, which was nice. And then this week we started an SMG Amara with an action skill, so it's a lot more calm, and it was just nice to actually be able to use your action skill, because you don't realize how used to it you are until you completely don't even like spec into it at all. So,
yeah. It's different, but that sounds like a fun time. Whoa, color insanity. I love it.
Yeah, this is I was waiting for this. This is I'll tell you who it is. This is trolls on my channel.
Good job. Wait, are they subscribing or?
Oh no, actually, it was Wyatt666 with a follow. So apologies, I weren't being trolled for once. I usually am being very much trolled.
And somebody who actually took advantage of the fact that your overlay is here and then went to your channel and then followed your channel right when you're live.
Yay!
It was always a risk when I turned it on.
Yes. Yeah. It's so now that everything is kind of settled down a little bit. The other day, King Gathalion asked me if I wanted to play Borderlands, like the original Borderlands.
Oh.
I haven't played that game in so long. And of course I can't say no, because why would I ever? So it was an interesting walk down memory lane. I only had about an hour and a half to play, but man, when you get off that bus and you start walking around for the first time again, you're like, oh, I can't slide. Oh, I can't mantle, but none of that matters. And you just start, because one of the nice things, I have no idea where I got them, but I have like 73 golden keys in Borderlands 1. I don't know where they came from.
Wow, that's a lot.
And there's a right, yeah, that's crazy, right?
Yeah.
And so there's a golden chest, because in the original game there wasn't, but in the 4K remaster they put in, you know, the golden chest. So we went up and we popped it open a few times, and then it's Borderlands 1. So when you hit somebody with overwhelming force, they explode. They explode in some of the most glorious gore I've ever seen in my life in any video game. And that includes 2 and 3. 2, they toned it down a little bit. 3, they brought it back a lot more. But oh boy, when you go back and you play the original, that brown, desolate wasteland that is the arid Badlands, that's a good time.
It's hilarious, Borderlands 1, because the auto aim is so strong. Like, I went back and did a Mordecai playthrough probably about 6 months ago, and like you'd right click on your mouse and like you'd be aiming over here and it'd be like whoop, and you'd feel like a god. You'd literally feel like a god just sniping everyone.
Yeah, I can't use it. I can't. It messes me up, so I just always have to turn it off. But I've heard that. I have heard that about Borderlands 1. I want to go back and play it just because I have only played it once. I tried to play it. So I started with Borderlands 2 way back when. And I played through Borderlands 2, I want to say like 2 or 3 times. And then I was like, I should probably play the first one. And I tried, and my first stream computer that was not built to be a stream computer at all, or really to play anything except a different game, did not handle Borderlands 1. It was basically saying, no, sorry, that's not happening. So I couldn't play it then. And then I think I tried again with another computer, and even that wouldn't play it. And then they released the remastered version right before Borderlands 3. So I was finally able to play it, and I loved it. And I want to go back and play it before the movie comes out, because I know it's not the same story, but I feel like spiritually they'll be connected, right? So I want to do that at some point in the near future.
I have got an urge to play Roland again, and I know Roland's not the most fashionable, but I really enjoyed Roland when I was a Mordecai main, but I really enjoyed Roland when I played Borderlands 1. But you take for granted so many things in Borderlands 3.
Yeah.
When you go back, like, and even I played through Borderlands 2 as well, and like, you know, without community patches, if you just play like the vanilla version, like there's a lot of stuff there that you don't realize you can't do.
Yeah, definitely is hard to go back sometimes, but it's also fun. Sorry,
it is. Yeah, I was gonna say I like 1 because of the one huge subversion of expectation that was in Borderlands 1, which was when you're playing Roland's the healer. I don't remember how many people actually remember it, but Roland had an ability called Cauterize, where you shoot your allies and that's what heals them. And everybody forgets that, but you don't expect the soldier, right?
Yeah.
And we're going back to like 2009. So think of like what the cultural paradigm shift was back then. You didn't expect the big gruff soldier guy to be the one who's also the healer when he shoots you.
Yeah.
And so it's this really cool like subversion of your expectations going into the game.
Maybe that's why he didn't wear a shield, is because he could heal.
Yeah. It was great.
Yeah.
And healing actually mattered in Borderlands 1 because it's so hard to act. Like, there were very few skills that actually gave you healing. So transfusion grenades and having a dedicated healer on your team, or at least somebody who could heal, was so important, because your only other method of getting any health back was finding like Zed's meds on the ground. And that's just RNG.
And the other thing that struck me was the first time I opened the skill tree, like having not seen it for years, and then it's all on one page just right in front of you, and you're like, well, where's the rest of it, kind of thing, because you're so used to having so much depth in the others.
Yeah, they definitely evolved like and expanded exponentially over the course of the different entries in the franchise, which is so cool to have been with them through all that. It's neat. It's definitely, it's fun. It's neat to go back because it makes you appreciate what we have now even more, but also it's just the nostalgia, and it really is like, it still holds up. I think Borderlands 1, especially with the remaster, and Borderlands 2 still hold up, even though some of the more modern like mantling and sliding and things like that are missing. I think graphically they still hold up really well because the style is so like timeless. The visual style is so timeless, and of course the story and the characters are so fun. So yeah, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna go back and play through it again.
You're gonna have a great time.
Yeah.
Do you know about the little experience sneaky thing that can be done?
No.
Okay, so I didn't know about this either, but of course, Gathalion is Gathalion, and he knows all the little tricks and tips and things like that. So as soon as you get your catch ride, right, and you summon in a vehicle, you drive the vehicle up to the ramp at Pisswash Gulch, right? But you don't jump it. You drive it as far as you can to where it's almost going to fall off the ramp, but it doesn't. And then you can only do this with more than, well, I guess you could probably do it by yourself if you're really, really fast, but it's easier to do with two people. You have one person get in the car, and the other person sneaks up behind it and punches it. And because you got experience for certain, I guess you could say, achievements that you did, the car would go flipping through the air. And if it got enough air, you would get, I think it's like an airtime trophy or something like that. And there were 3 levels to it. So the longer it stayed in the air, you would get the first rank, the second rank, and the third rank. And you would get like a bajillion XP. It was enough to get you like 2 or 3 levels.
Wow.
Yeah, it's busted, but it never got nerfed and anything like that. So like Borderlands 1 is very slow, and it's like in that first couple areas, and having that experience boost to try and get you through things like going through the shock cavern and eventually going over to hang out with Sledge, like it helps immensely to have any advantage you can possibly get, because when it over levels you, and the game gets hard really quickly. It eventually balances out a little bit better as time goes on. But for that first 2.5, 3 hours is rough. Indie rough. So any advantage. Yeah. Try it. Try it.
Yeah.
You gotta do it with somebody, but try it.
I'm sure I'll have somebody available to help. Cool. Yes. Very, very cool. Okay.
That's my Borderlands 1 recommendation for everybody. That, and don't be afraid to use a golden key or 2 early, because man, it makes all the difference when you've got a purple. Oh, it felt like the game was being more generous though. I think we saw more purple guns actually drop from enemies than greens.
I have never opened a golden chest in Borderlands 3.
Never?
All the golden keys I've ever got, I've never ever opened
I will
the golden
say
chest in
I
Sanctuary.
haven't opened as many as I used to open in Borderlands 2. nowhere near.
I figured. I
But
figured,
none?
I agree. No.
Yeah, I figured that one day, like this was obviously ages ago, that they were going to introduce pearls. So I thought, well, maybe they'll come from this chest. So I just stacked them all up for a rainy day, and it's never kind of come around. So
Yeah.
um,
Yeah, I guess I could see that.
but yeah, I think I'm about 70 odd. Never used them. Maybe we'll do an unboxing stream at some point. Just open 70 and see what we got.
Yeah.
That would actually be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
That'd be
That
cool.
would be cool. That would definitely be cool. Well,
Tess, what were you up to?
I've been working on some behind the scenes stuff with my setup for this weekend and next weekend because I'm doing I'm finally doing my celebration stream for 7 years on Twitch. It had to get delayed by a couple weeks. And that's this Saturday, and then I'm doing a big Extra Life charity stream next weekend on Saturday. So I've been prepping for that stuff. There's some cool stuff that'll happen on the weekend, just saying, on my channel.
Yeah.
It'll be good. But yeah, I've been doing that. In Borderlands, I honestly haven't gotten a whole lot of time to play, but mostly just working on vault cards. That's my thing. Like, actually, when I've been taking a break from finagling overlays and setup things, I've just been jumping in and doing whatever I need to do for the vault card that day, just to kind of chill for a little bit and then jumping back out. That's
Which is
been
pretty
my
cool.
thing. Yeah. What about you?
Well, I mean, besides hanging out with Gathalion, really, that's the amount of time that I've really had this week to get everything organized, because we've just been working around back here. First, getting this show ready, which, oh boy, I was stressing so much trying to find things to actually talk about this week in terms of news, because there was none for a little while, and then all of a sudden in the past 24 hours there was a ton of news. So everything that I did work on gets to go in the pile of now Mitsu doesn't have anything to talk about, so here's, because every good writer has that. Every good writer has an entire list of things in case they've just completely fallen off the wagon and need ideas, because there's nothing left to talk about. I don't need that
not
anymore.
the case.
No, you guys are gonna find all about that in a couple minutes.
Yep.
And why be a couple minutes when we could get right into it right now?
So we have a new series of mini events happening called True Trials. A new mini event series has arrived, all part of the lead up to what literally every single person in the Borderlands community has asked for: Revenge of the Cartels returning. So if you haven't seen the blog post, it's coming back June 24th. That is the date when Cartels begins the Revengeance of the Revenge of the Cartels. I'm going to actually post the link in chat for anybody that missed the blog post, because that name is hilarious. But yeah, so see how long you can survive during the ultra challenging True Trials mini events in Borderlands 3. So in the lead up to the Revenge of the Cartels Revengeance, the True Trials mini events are going to go from May 13th, which is today, until July 1st. So all the way through the launch of Revenge of the Cartels.
Yes.
You, as Vault Hunters, have taken on all kinds of challenges in your time, but do you have the skills and endgame gear to beat the Guardian's True Trials? During the True Trials, a 6-week series of limited-time mini-events, the final boss in one of the Proving Grounds trials encounter will receive massive buffs to their damage and health. We're talking health totals in the billions, akin to Hemovor's the Invincible, the raid boss introduced in Director's Cut DLC 6. All these challenges lead up to the return of the fan favorite Revenge of the Cartels seasonal event, which goes live on June 24th.
There it is.
Yeah.
There's the date.
Yeah.
There it is.
Yeah, June 24th.
Finally.
So yeah, we did not have a date for you, but now we do, June 24th. Which is not that far away, which is kind of crazy. May is like almost half over. How'd that happen?
Yeah.
How'd that happen? It's crazy.
Mhm.
It's so crazy. How excited are you, Triple G, and you, Mitsu, for the launch of those? For Revenge to come
I'm pretty
back?
excited. I mean, the Cartels has some of the best stuff in the game. Like the fact that the OPQ still smacks at level 57. It'll be interesting to see whether, as we saw with the wedding invitation dropped off a little bit because the game had grown and more challenging enemies came into the game. So it'll be interesting to see whether the OPQ can still handle itself in the same way. I'm fully expecting it to. The other thing to remember is at the time when the OPQ system was around, the 300/90 was, for want of a better word, busted. So that, it was ignoring all 3 bars instead of just the one. So hopefully the rose tinted nostalgia glasses don't get too teary eyed when it might not be as good as it was. But I'm expecting that to still be good, and the no pew pew to still be good. I'm excited to get another fish slap as well.
Yellow cake?
So I think it'd be good.
Maybe yellow cake.
Yeah. So I think the yellow cake might end up being one of the most crazy things as well when you put it together with the Infernal Wish. So the Infernal Wish shield from the Arms Race adds an extra projectile, and the yellow cake starts off as 1 projectile, then splits into 2, and then 4.
Oh my god!
So you might be able to get 8 out of the yellow cake. So
oh my god,
it could be pretty crazy. But no, I'm excited. The map is akin to like Athenas, which is my favorite map anyway. So yeah, it was really good, and a good Iridian source as well.
Yeah, which we all need. I'm running low on iridium for the first time in my life ever, and it's wonderful.
It's very easy to churn through it, right?
Yeah, there's so many reasons to spend it now, and they're like legitimate fun sinks or useful sinks or what have you. So it's really, really cool. I'm really curious to see what happens that last week of the True Trials, because Revenge of the Cartels will be live and there'll be True Trials happening. But it starts today. So for the next 6 weeks, 1 Proving Grounds trial per week will be selected to become a true trial. And only the most elite Vault Hunters should even think about taking it on, which means everybody, right? Everybody? No. Without a top tier build and loot, it's going to get rough in there. So newer players may want to avoid whichever Proving Ground trial has been selected for that week's mini event. That's good to know. You don't have to go there. If you're still new to the game, take it easy. Just have fun. There'll be more crazy stuff coming. Yeah, so as the boss buffs can't be deactivated for that weekly duration. Okay, so you can't turn it off, but it's only 1 Proving Ground per week. So there'll be other Proving Grounds you can do, which are normal if that's your thing. Should you prove victorious in your battle against the amped up final boss, your reward will be 2 legendary items handpicked by the Borderlands 3 development team. There are 2 possible pieces of loot each week, one from the base game and the other from an add-on. In addition, the chest at the end of each week's true trial will be full of legendaries, regardless of how quickly you completed it or how many objectives you scored. The rewards, that's actually really, really cool.
Yeah, that's great.
The tiny pause there. Yeah, that's so regardless of how fast you, so this is made for the less speedy among us. I'm not fast. I get distracted by shiny trash piles and things. So, there'll still be legendaries for me. I'm happy about this. I'm very selfish. No, really, I'm happy for everybody that's going to do this because it sounds like a lot of fun. The rewards will change each week, but one will always be from the base game's loot pool, while the other will be from one of Borderlands 3's 6 add-ons. Note that if you don't own a particular item's respective add-on, you'll be able to claim your hard-earned loot, but won't be able to equip it until you own the add-on it comes from. Okay, so you won't be able to get DLC loot from this unless you actually own the DLC. However, if you choose to buy the DLC at a later date, you'll get that loot at that later date. So you'll have earned it.
Not quite. You'll have it. It's going to drop for you, but it'll show that you can't equip it.
Yes, you won't be able to use it. You'll have it, but you won't be able to use it.
So you can vault it, and then if you buy it later on, it's like the red chest rewards that you would get from a DLC that you might from a streamer you might be watching.
Oh, yeah,
they can take it and they can put it in their inventory, but they'll never be able to equip it.
Yeah, until you buy the DLC.
They buy it.
But that's really cool because you can earn it, and then maybe it's not in your budget right now, but it will be a year from now, or it will be a month from now.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is, you can take this week's reward, which is the Lucky 7. Now, I'm not a massive fan of it, but it is good in certain scenarios. Now, Jolts has a video out where he does the takedown in about 2 minutes and 50 with just the Lucky 7. So somebody could watch that and go, I've got one of them. Like I got one from the Proving Ground and then go out and buy the DLC because they want to do a really speedy run. So it just presents people with the opportunities. And a really good thing to note as well, like the amount of times over the last probably 3 or 4 months that Gearbox has consistently buffed base game things. Because one of the things you see, on the forums is, the new stuff in the DLCs is always better, because they want to incentivize people to buy the DLC. However, Gearbox has made what is clearly a strategy to buff base game stuff. The last however many hotfixes have just been full of base game buffs to bring that gap ever closer. So that's why there's one base game and one DLC item in there to give you that option.
Yeah, that's really nice. And I'm really, really glad that they've been doing that because not everybody has all the DLC. So it's really, really nice of them to keep doing that, keep making sure that the base game is still super awesome for everyone to enjoy and there's good loot there. That's really cool. Yeah.
Yes.
So a new True Trials mini event will be activated every Thursday from May 13th to June 24th. So today and then next Thursday and following. We'll update the schedule below as each week's True Trial is revealed. So we don't know exactly what the deal is each week yet, but that webpage that I posted that will be in the podcast description section also will tell you. You can just refer back to it every week to make sure. I will post it again in the Twitch chat right now, just for you guys. But yeah, the week 1 True Trial of Survival is located at Devil's Razor on Pandora. And the base game legendary that you get is the Lob, which is an awesome weapon. And the add-on legendary is the Lucky 7, as Triple G said. Pretty cool. Pretty cool.
Lucky 7, very strong weapon. Very, very strong weapon, especially lately. It requires little finagling to make it work the way that a particular user would want it to work. But if you get that good roll, if you will, for it, it will annihilate. I've heard Moe's especially takes extreme advantage of using the Lucky 7. And in general, it's just a really fun, silly gun to use.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the Lob. The Lob has improved drastically over the past year and a half. If you are a returning player and you're listening right now and you doubt the power of the Lob, I can tell you right now, it has changed significantly from what it was on release. On release, it was a gun that shot 3 projectiles in rapid succession that did not really kind of live up to the amount of damage that you think it would do. So then they increased the amount of damage it did significantly. And then they realized having that with 3 projectiles was a bad idea. So they nerfed it down to 1, but they increased the reload speed of the Lob to compensate. So it feels really fun to shoot. It's still a giant, slow-moving ball of death. Give it a try sometime. It comes in pretty much every elemental flavor, if I recall correctly.
Yep.
And you will not be disappointed with where the Lob is now compared to where it was on release. That I can promise you.
It went from meme to mean.
Yes. I like that.
Brilliant. Love it. Put that on a t-shirt.
Yeah. Meme to meme. It was fun when it was a meme. It's really badass now, which is really cool, is what that means. Yeah.
Yeah.
Neat.
It
An
puts in
point.
the work.
Okay. An interesting point on the Proving Ground as well is that I haven't tested this because I haven't had a chance, but the Proving Ground bosses, once you take all their health off, they regen it all back and you got to do it all over again. So technically, I think that they'll have more health than Hemovorus when you do this. Because it will because they said that it will have the health of a raid boss and you get that twice.
Yeah.
So unless they halved it, you're looking at a substantial task to take on one of these bosses.
Sounds like a fun challenge.
How would this compare to a Sponge Boss?
Oh, good question.
I don't know what the final figures are for Sponge Boss, to be honest, but I think he's in the ballpark of Hemovorus as well. The advantage, the advantage and disadvantage of Sponge Boss is that if you hit him in the head, starts regenerating his health all over again, doesn't he? But he doesn't have any immunity faces, so I think it would depend on the actual the health values. But I can't remember what Sponge Boss is off the top of my head.
Yeah, he's tough. I've had the most success and fun killing him with that badass Mama Bear Mo still. Still my favorite. It's still my favorite. It's still my go-to build for anything that's really hard or anything new that might be really hard. Pretty much. But yeah, I'm curious. I'm curious to hear what the response will be like. I want to see Twitter and our Twitch chats when we stream Borderlands on this channel, or our channels. Like, I want to see what you guys think after you've run through this at least a few times.
If you're new and you don't know where the proving grounds are, because it's not, you won't find them in Sanctuary. There'll be exclamation points across the planets. So Mental Mars has an article on his website which will tell you exactly where you need to go. Plus, in the notes for each week, Gearbox has put the planet in which you need to go and pick up the mission from. So they won't be in Sanctuary. You need to look for the explanation points on the planets themselves.
Yeah,
Yes.
I think you can click on the Pandora, like the name of Pandora. Yeah, and then they show you exactly where. Oh no, they don't. Yeah, they just show you some of the locations.
So Bob Badass has just put in chat that the SCAG this week has 4 billion for each bar. Chemo only has 2.3 million total.
Wow, that's gonna be insane. Yeah,
But
so
the simplicity,
mentalmars.com to figure out exactly where to pick that up if you're new.
Simplicity wise, though, your proving ground boss will only have 1 bar, so like it'll be mainly just incendiary you might want to be using, or some of the bosses, I think that they do change their immunity as well. I think there's a SCAG boss that can change his immunity phase through it as well.
That sounds miserable.
Yeah, it is.
It'll be fine, maybe.
Carry 4 flippers with you and just switch between all of them.
Actually, that's probably what I'll do.
I just close my eyes and fire the plague bearer, and I'll do the rest.
Or that, yeah.
Always an option too. It can't change immunities if it's already dead.
Yes, it's true.
Fair point. Very fair point.
One small note before we end. I'm so happy that Revenge of the Cartels is coming back. The entire community has been screaming for it, and it has been a chorus of screams from everybody here on the Bordercast, and I think everybody on the content creation team, and I think everybody in the community, and I think everybody in the whole world. It's been far too long, and it's just such an enjoyable event. My only question is this: why is it called Revengeance of the Revenge of the Cartels? Gearbox they didn't slap on an additional name for this year's like haunt, right? They didn't slap on a name for Valentine's Day, right? So why is this one suddenly different? So there has to be a change.
Well, Mario tweeted, didn't he? One of the devs, he tweeted that they were doing some changes to the Cartels, and everybody has now assumed that it's this proving grounds thing that's come before it, and nobody, I haven't seen anybody talk about the fact that I think he was being more specific, and it is about the Cartels. I still think there's something coming from the Cartels, and let's not forget the last prediction I made on this Bordercast was that the raid boss was going to be difficult and they wanted loads of healing stuff, and they proceeded to heal all the way through. So I was right before. So let's go for 2-0.
You were play somebody. I wish we had a playback right now. We'll play that back.
Yeah.
Were the tweets that you were referring to in response to Epic NNG?
There were. Yes, there were.
Yeah. So just for context for everybody who's listening right now, Mario Rodriguez, who works for Gearbox and was the brains behind several bosses at this point, including I think this one for DLC 6. He says it's no secret that we've brought back previous events, and we are very aware that the Cartels is our most popular one, with good reason. There are reasons why it has not been brought back yet. It will all make sense when the details are out. Let's all just be patient and really enjoy it when it's time. It's all good. I'm glad we have fans that are passionate about our game. We are lucky to have a player base that enjoys our content. Wish we could share our secret master plans all at once, but then it wouldn't be a secret if we did so. So we hope that everybody stays tuned. More info soon, TM, which is one of my favorite things of all time. So yeah, it's forthcoming. Hopefully it gets here when it gets here. They clearly have something really big in mind. I want to see what it is. Fine. Now,
I'll be honest. I would like them to us not have to do the the first bit, which was collect all the tokens before you could go in. I would like to just be able to run that. And if you're asking me what my wish list is, give me a true takedown button for it. Make it hard.
Yeah, that would be cool. I mean, it's called the Revengence of Revenge of the Cartels. So Revengeance kind of sounds like reimagining. So maybe they've made some really cool changes. I don't know. This is pure speculation that there are changes, but
Tess just confirmed Joey the Invincible.
no.
oh, if only.
That would be cool though. It would be
It
cool.
would
Oh
be.
god. It would be really cool. And I think the love of the community for this event in particular probably had a lot to do with them paying more attention and deciding to like put some more oomph in it, maybe. I don't know. We'll see.
It's worth pointing out. Everybody, I've seen it in the YouTube chat. I've seen it in the Twitch chat. I've seen the tweets. Everybody goes, "Oh, the OPQ, the OPQ, the OPQ." Even Triple G, you were just talking about right now. Oh, the OPQ, the OPQ, the OPQ. Right? And the yellow cake, the yellow cake, everybody says, "Oh, it's overpowered. Oh, it's gonna get nerfed." Everybody's afraid, right? Well, here's the thing. If you make it so that those guns specifically drop if it's a true takedown, right? And they make it hard. They make it real hard. Then I don't think they'll nerf them because that's your reward. Your reward is you get the OPQ at level 65, Mayhem, I was about to say Mayhem 11, Mayhem 10 level. That's what you get, right? So if they make it difficult and it still absolutely destroys, as it does at 57, then I'm hoping if that's the route that they go, I don't think they'll nerf them. And then you'll have a yellow cake that's just going to obliterate everything in front of you. And anything that's left, you just pull out your OPQ system and have whatever fun time you want to have with that.
I mean, that wouldn't be bad.
The game's changed a lot as well. The game has changed a lot since they first came out. Like Moe's, I might be wrong about this, but I don't think Moe's had the same fire in the Skag's Den scaling that she did back then. And she also certainly didn't have big surplus buffing the way that it does right now. So Moe's would be disgusting with that yellow cake.
Back then, nobody had that kind of mayhem scaling. Mayhem scaling like that was only added in, I want to say, maybe sometime
Mayhem 3,
summer.
wasn't it? It was Mayhem 3. Sorry, not Mayhem 3. DLC 3.
Yeah, I qualified, yes, but I don't want to be like super wrong if I'm wrong on that one. But it was later on.
Yeah. It's funny and crazy how much the game has changed over the course of time since it launched already. And they're still like iterating and they're still making changes and they're still tweaking things to make it like the perfectest. And it's amazing and it's just good. Yeah. Game good, as Quag just kindly put in chat. Game good.
Game good. Good
very,
game.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you to the devs for just doing amazing things and continuing to make it really, really fun for us.
Yes. And as it turns out, week 1, True Trial, as we were talking about, comes to all of us via what one might call a hotfix, which means...
Oh, here he goes.
We missed it last week. We got to do it this week. It's that segment, Hotfixes Applied.
Yeah. So good.
Oh boy. All right. Today's changes in Borderlands 3 activate the True Trials event. As you guys know, as a reminder, Maurice's black market vending machine is moving to a new location, which Triple G hinted at earlier. These changes will all be live on all platforms by 12 noon, which it seems everybody has received. For those of you who might be asking, because this was tweeted about earlier, the Becca actually had a minus 34% nerf to it, and we're going to talk about that in a few seconds. That has been altered to its current buffed rate, which you will find out about in a few seconds. The True Trial of Survival event will be active until May 20th at 8:59 a.m. Pacific time. As a reward, as we talked about before, they'll be dropping 2 legendary weapons. It'll be either the Lob or the Lucky 7. And in addition, the chest of the Trial of Survival, should you manage to somehow beat over 4 billion health for that boss, will have guaranteed legendaries no matter how fast or how slow you beat it. They also addressed a reported issue that was sometimes causing the Magnificent to occasionally lose its buff. And now... or the weapon adjustments. This is interesting. The first one is the Hellfire. I've been asking for the Hellfire to be buffed for quite some time, and I've been very salty because they changed it over to Dahl, and I don't think Dahl is a good fit for the Hellfire, which is the primo elemental gun of life. But you're not going to get a weapon manufacturer change in this game, so I'm just not asking for that. That's silly. Like, that's not going to happen. But what I would have liked to see is the dot damage scale like it did in Borderlands 1, which is instead of refreshing a dot when it procced the dot, it put a new one on. So it was literally melting enemies because the dot damage was so significantly high. An enemy just melted and fell by the wayside, and you just laughed at it because it was dead.
Isn't that exactly what they did, though?
So
sort of?
Not really. It didn't receive a direct damage buff increase, but the dot damage went up by, according to Lazy, which is where all these figures are coming from. Thank you, Lazy Data. Go check out his Twitter at lazy_data on Twitter. The dot damage was increased by 10 times the amount. And he has been very clear that this still perhaps is not enough. And I'm inclined to agree after doing a few little tests with it, because it doesn't feel like that Hellfire of old. And I know that there's probably some reticence as to why that is, because it's just not going to be. But at the same time, you know, I'm a nostalgia person. I really love the way that gun was in 1. It's not going to be like that in 3, and I understand that. But
I will answer all the weapons. I'll answer all the weapons, or I'll give you a judgment of all the weapons in mime. So I walk I'm
gonna enjoy this. Okay, and then Tess, you have to explain it for the listeners.
That's what I get it.
Basically, the visual is very.
Yeah. No, this is it. No, I've got it right. So I have to do in my visual mime. You have to do in sound.
Oh God.
Yes. So it'd be like,
yeah, that's good.
yes.
Yeah, basically, Triple G was like shaking his hand, like, yeah, it's all right. It could be better, you know. Yeah.
Next up was what's up?
Yeah. Well, okay, so just to speak to it, I feel like there are many guns that have come back from games of your past games that are not sort of up to par with what they were before, but I also feel like they shouldn't be, you know, like, because then we just use them because they decimate all the other things, and we'd be using the same old guns instead of the new guns. I don't know. It's a gray area. But anyway, please continue.
Well, to that point, I don't want to see the Hellfire become so overwhelmingly strong it is the only gun to use. Mm-hmm. But I would like to see it retain the functionality of what it had. That's the hallmark of using the Hellfire, right? That's the advantage to using the Hellfire over any other incendiary weapon, because it gets the stacking dot as opposed to a refreshing dot. If you lower the damage on that, let's say we reverted that, but then you added that to it, and maybe it doesn't refresh it on every hit, it refreshes it every 12th hit, or adds a dot every 12th hit or something like that. It just make it a hidden value. You could balance it that way and still at least have it so that the dots are adding, because they'll start falling off by the time they start getting overwhelmingly strong. Because a Dahl weapon, that magazine size is going to be somewhere in the 20s, 30s. So it'll probably put 2 or 3 on before you've got to reload. And then if you have it stay on for 8-10 seconds, and then it falls off, it'll feel fine. And it retains that Hellfire feel to it. That's all. There are ways to kind of amend it where it's not overwhelming. Like, I don't want to see the double penetrating Unkempt Herald come back. We can talk about that.
See, like,
it's there, but it's not there.
Well, it's totally not there at all, basically. Like, it's there in name only, because it doesn't feel so. Okay, my issue with the DP, the Herald is that less that it's not strong, because same thing, right? If it was as strong as it was in Borderlands of yore, then we just use that, right? But I wanted to feel like that gun did, which I think is actually really hard to do because the gun play is so different. Like, it's not so different, but it's definitely different. It's much more modernized and like much more well tuned and snappy and precise. But that was one of the best feeling guns. It was so satisfying to shoot, and now it's just not. So I kind of wish it just felt better to shoot. That's my only request. You don't have to make it stronger. I don't even care if you make it weaker. Don't do that. But please. But if you did, I just wanted to feel like the old Harold.
We'll be having this same conversation though about the light show whenever the next game comes along, because
that's true.
The light show or whatever else is new in this game that stands out.
That's true.
Will be. People always look back and remember how crackers and crazy it was. Like the OPQ right now, we were doing it waiting for the next version of it to come out. But generally speaking, I think you have to have at least some nostalgic nods to weapons. Like I want the Maggie in every single game ever.
Because isn't it hanging on the wall behind you?
Yes, and it'll always remain there. But I feel like video games have this tough choice where they have to respect the traditions of Borderlands, like in gameplay and weapons, but they also have to evolve, else they're accused of standing still. So it's that happy little medium in between.
Yeah. True.
It's a very interesting conversational point to pick up real quick. Just because so many people keep comparing Borderlands 3 to 2, and they say, "Oh, well, look at 2. 2 was like this and like this," and I feel like everybody forgets what Borderlands 2 was like on release, and I also feel like everybody forgot how the scaling in Borderlands 2 was not very good, and how clean and concise Borderlands 3 feels like as a result. There are some things that I do miss. I miss more world bosses and invincibles and things like that. That's a very fair discussion to have. But if you're talking about the raw math behind Borderlands 2, everybody was basically pigeonholed in the same 4 or 5 different builds. Zero had like 2. One was for melee, one was for Boar, and both of them used Boar anyway. Maya had maybe 1, 2 when she had Zombie Maya, and that got nerfed in the dirt and made almost impossible to use. Salvador was Salvador, lol. And then you had Krieg, who blood sploded, Gage, who anarchied, and who am I forgetting? I feel like I'm forgetting Maya. How did I forget Maya? Oh wait, no, I said Maya. I'm dumb. Axton used like the sawbar and maybe one other gun. And that was it. Like it's not something that I want to go back to. I love the fact that there's so much more variety in builds and weapons that you can use and stuff like that.
And the really interesting thing of they said that, so K6 was posed this question on his stream today. So then K6 being K6 decided to get the whole list of all Borderlands 3 weapons and went through and what was genuinely still usable, not broken to the point, but genuinely still usable on Mayhem 10 and in playthroughs. And I think there was like 250 plus weapons, and he listed 70 weapons, and that's without artifacts and without class mods and stuff. So I think the game overall, I mean, people are fine to, have their own opinions about Borderlands 2, just as we're fine to have our own opinions about why we like Borderlands 3 potentially better.
Of course.
But I think video games have to evolve. Like I asked this question to my stream, like if they literally just took Borderlands 2 tomorrow and gave it Borderlands 3 shooting and Borderlands 3, fast travel and all those improvements, like how many of those people would just buy it? Like realistically, only the serious hardcore players would probably buy it. You wouldn't probably get that many new players because they'll have played it before, and they're a different type of player to what we see on Twitch.
I would love for them to do that as someone that spent like unbelievable, ungodly amounts of hours in Borderlands 2. I would love to see them do that. But I think I would play through it another, 1 to 5 times, and then I go back to Borderlands 3 just because there's so much more in Borderlands 3 to do. Mm-hmm. And it's an evolution, right? And I'm like, you get used to the new stuff, right? And so you want that new stuff, and you want the expansive Borderlands to play in. And yeah, so like I would love to have them do that if they somehow had time, which I'm sure they don't, but it would be really cool. Like I love it. It is a wonderful nostalgic feeling to play through Borderlands 2 again. And they already upgraded the graphics and all that stuff. I think the only thing that it's really like missing, if anything, is the really modern gunplay and movement. But even the old school gunplay is pretty good. But yeah, like if they upgraded the gunplay, I would definitely play through it again a few times. But I already own it. And like I said, I would probably play through it again a few times, but then I go back to Borderlands 3 because there's more to do. And I love Borderlands 3. It's amazing. It's just more beautiful worlds to hang out in. I feel like Borderlands 2 would become a part of Borderlands 3 at that point. You know?
I guess in a way, yeah.
For me, at least, in my crazy brain. But yeah, anyway, more hotfixes.
Yes. So apparently, moving forward, Quag's favorite gun in the entire world, which apparently he wants to have all of his limbs removed and replaced with TK's. TK's Wave had a wonderful increase of 233% damage, as well as having its projectile speed increased. So does this make TK's Wave like remotely viable? Because anything to honor TK Baja, I'm down for.
The Lazy put a side by side of the Hellwalker and the TK's Wave next to each other to compare the damage, and they were both very, very, very good. So, like, if you consider how much the Hellwalker took over, and is used now as probably the go-to shotgun outside of the face puncher. Like that bodes very well. There's still a learning curve with the TK's Wave. Like at certain ranges, it's just going to split too much. It'll be very difficult to use. And I think that's a good thing because all powerful things should have a payoff. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to using it.
I agree. So it seems like that's probably a very good change in general to have to compare to the Hellwalker is surprising. Mm-hmm. Not many guns get that kind of love and treatment, so that's a good place to be, especially for a shotgun. Shotguns need a little bit more love. Crossroad. The Crossroad got a 50% damage buff increase, which was nice to see.
I'm sorry, yeah? we didn't do the mime. We didn't do the mime.
Oh, I'm sorry, we did not do the mime. Yes, okay, so mime how you feel about TK's Waves changes.
Ding.
That was adorable. Okay, so to describe it, since you already did the sound effect.
I did do the sound effect. Sorry.
It's okay. That was perfect. It was a lovely sound effect accompanied by a big giant smile and two very big, very happy thumbs up.
I assume the ting was like light radiating off of one of your teeth, like a
little sparkle,
like that. That's good. Yeah.
Very good.
I can think of one specifically, but we try not to be too specific here with other things, which is how it goes. So yes, Crossroad 50% damage increase. Does that wasn't the Crossroad something that people wanted an extra projectile to?
Yes, it was. They didn't get it, but.
Is this comparable? Like, is a 50% damage buff comparable to that?
I mean, it's gonna improve it. Don't get me wrong. Like at the moment, before the buff, it was a playthrough weapon. It kind of dropped off, and now it's going to be a niche weapon. Like if you want to use it, you can use it, but I wouldn't expect it to go into too many builds.
Okay. So in that case, what would your verdict be on that one?
I'm going to give it again.
Okay. So the shaking, waving hand of, it's okay.
I like this. This is a good bet. What do we have next? The NARP. Almost I just said NARF. The NARP increased magazine size. I think it said, your Lazy said on Twitter, it was just +1 to the mag. About.
Oh, I haven't checked. I don't know.
Yeah, it seemed very, very small. So I guess this one you'd have to do like a shrugging shoulders kind of thing.
Thumbs down. Oof, that's even worse than the waving hand. I think.
I'm judging it on the NARP is a pain in the ass to use. I'm not a fan. Okay. So I'm giving that judgment into it as well.
Fair, I guess. I guess it's fair. Yes, I do like how Mitsu said the name though. That made it feel. Yes. Maybe it needs another buff. Yeah. Maybe it needs another buff so that we can have Mitsu saying it again next week. Just say it.
It needs a damage buff is what it sounds like, or some sort of way to take advantage of what it does more easily.
Yeah,
You know, because legendary guns, the whole trick behind most of them is it has a gimmick, right? The lob has a gimmick. It fires, it starts off very fast, the projectile slows down. If it touches you, you melt, right? But it's not a long projectile. It just goes maybe about 20 yards and then fades away. So for the NARP, like, for the people, Triple G, what exactly do they need to do with it that makes it so difficult to use? If you were to try to use it correctly.
I mean, I can't even remember what its gimmick is, if I'm going to be completely honest with you. I remember using it in DLC 3 and it just lacked damage. And that's the one thing I remember about it. So the magazine size isn't going to help it for me. I can't remember what its gimmick is.
Yeah.
So maybe this is a setup for a future buff as well.
I mean, the fix to it is use Mo's. Mo's can make anything work.
Yeah, correct. Yes.
Use Mo's. You'll be fine.
So following the into that one more time just for your test. The Polybius received a damage buff of 18.5%. It's a very odd specific number to use for it. How does it feel now? Because it doesn't seem like a lot, comparatively speaking.
Ever used that? Maybe one time. I don't know why I never use it.
It just doesn't really have a good rap, honestly. You see it and you're kind of like, oh, it's the Poly. All right, cool. I'm gonna go use something that's good.
Oh God, Mitsu's just being brutal with that one.
No, but it's like that. Like that's how your brain works.
Yeah.
So I apologize that like there's no filter here, but that's how gamers think. Gamers think like that. It's like, all right, cool. There's the Polybius. I'm happy that this legendary dropped, but I am currently using a flipper, so why do I care? You know, like
Mitsu understands my brain. I compare everything to the flipper, and if it's not as good as the flipper, then
why am I bothering? It's like the light show. The light show will put in work for you that you would appreciate, right?
Yeah, that's true. I do like that.
Right. So a Hellwalker is going to do it. The Monarch is going to do it. So your brain doesn't go there. When somebody asks, what's one of your favorite legendaries? Because we could ask this to most people who play Borderlands. What's one of your favorite legendaries in Borderlands? People are going to jump to 1,000 different names. I can't imagine the vast majority of them jumping to the Polybius. So
maybe that's why they brought it up. So Triple G, did they bring it up enough?
No, they didn't. But you have to have some crap in order for the good to succeed.
That's true.
Right.
So I don't know how to put this. The one thing that confuses me is when they buff something and it goes from not useful to still not useful. That is one that I struggle with. And sometimes it's because we don't understand what they've buffed yet. And there have been some occasions where, you know, they've said weapon buff or weapon damage increase on the hotfix notes themselves, and then we see nothing on the card. And then when it's you know, it's up to us to go and find out exactly, you know, like the dot damage with the weapon this week.
Yeah.
Like it's up to us to go and find out what it is. And it, you know, as far as I'm aware, that's not the case with the Polybius, but it is something that can happen. But it's it's gonna miss.
Another waving hand from Triple G.
Yeah.
No. Well, I mean, that's not a thumbs down. So
Yeah.
No, it's not a thumbs down because it's still a weapon that you can use, and it has a cool gimmick. So its projectiles change direction and stuff like that, which is cool. And if you want to use something that's cool, then it's for you and you can use it.
Yeah.
There were a lot of people who used gimmick weapons before. They just they stick by them through thick and thin, regardless of whether or not they're actually quote unquote good, I guess you could say.
Sometimes they fit really well into like themed builds, right? Like Birdman does a lot of themed builds where like the whole idea of the playthrough and the build is some kind of very specific theme, right? And so some of these gimmicky weapons really feed well into that, and he's not the only one that does that. So it's fun to do that. It's fun to make a build that maybe doesn't make sense like in the, you know, min-max world of gamers, but it does make sense if you're trying to go for like a cool, theme or a cool gimmick for the entire playthrough.
And there are a ton of people that don't play on Max Mayhem.
Yeah.
We often, the people on Twitch, we take it for granted and we think that everybody plays on Mayhem 10 because, the people that watch us stream on Mayhem 10 are picking up tips all the time. So they'll find a way to get to Mayhem 10, but there are a ton of people out there that don't play on those high Mayhems, and the Polybius will smack for those guys.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. I would actually be really curious to one day see the numbers. I don't know if Gearbox has that available to them. I have no idea. But it would be really cool to see the actual numbers of how many people play on what Mayhem levels, or if any. That would be interesting because there are a lot of people that play, like you said, a little bit more casually. So I don't know.
Yeah, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that at all.
Yeah, Borderlands is a great game to just like I said, how I've been playing this past week. I literally have not had very much time at all to do anything. So when I played, it's been just jump in, kind of chill for a couple hours, and then that's it. And it's really nice to just run around and do stuff on any Mayhem level.
Yes.
Yeah.
So moving forward, let's see, what do we have next? Oh, right. The world's second memeiest gun, right behind the woodblocker, the Malak's Bane, received a 65% damage increase. How are we feeling about that, Triple G? You're nodding pretty slow there.
So the damage is okay.
Okay.
The damage is okay, but I think K6 mentioned it today as well. I think it's still using a couple of bullets per shot, which it doesn't need to use.
Okay.
So that would be the one change I would like to see in the future. But the damage is okay. It's probably an in between. You're going to do fine on a playthrough with it, and up to a certain Mayhem level, it's going to be okay. But not S tier.
Makes sense.
Okay.
Makes sense.
Okay. I mean, but again, we talked about how things don't necessarily need to be S tier, right?
Yeah.
So
it's a stepping stone weapon on your way up.
Yes, that's a good way of looking at it. Because for so long it's just been a joke, and it dropped. What is it? It dropped with such frequency because apparently sniper rifles had an inordinately high drop rate, which was recently addressed, I want to say 2 weeks ago in a hotfix. So now it won't drop as much, and of course right after that happens, that's when Graham sneaks in the 65%. I see you, Graham. I see what you're doing. You held on to it just for that. Woodblocker got buffed that day too, didn't it? By 18% or something like that, but it did. I think. I don't remember, but there was a recent buff. Moving forward, the Becca. All right, so just as a refresher, we talked about this towards the top of the show. The Becca was originally, as part of the hotfix, accidentally nerfed by 34%. So people were complaining about that on Twitter. What I can say to you now, fortunately, is that was very quickly addressed, and now the Becca is up from where it was by 200%.
So it went up past where it originally was, right?
Big time.
Yeah.
Big time. But 200% from where it was, not the 34% nerf, and now it's up 200.
Okay.
Yes.
So yeah. So if you felt it at its nerf point, which was not supposed to happen, it's up 234% from that. Is what you're saying.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
So that is
Becca
excellent.
Shreds. Nice.
Yes.
Nice.
Triple G, tell us about the Becca.
I mean, it's busted. It's busted good. It's busted good. So it's really good from what I've seen. So I do have a level 65 one. So you need to complete the challenges, and you can only get one Becca currently in the game by completing the challenges. But there is another way to get the Becca. You can get it from the diamond loot room. It will drop from the diamond loot room. But obviously that is very hard to get the diamond key. So if you see it in the diamond loot room, you don't want to have a max level, it should be something you pick up, because you just will not be able to get it. Now, I'd like to see them throw it at a trials boss, or throw it somewhere where we can refarm it, which would be really good, particularly given how powerful it now is. But right now, if you've already got one and it's not on level, you have to go to the diamond loot room to get it.
That is unfortunate, but you know what?
Those vault cards.
That's what I was going to say. That's the point. Now you're motivated to go do vault cards all of a sudden, right?
Yep.
Yeah. And guess who's got 250 Jacob kills on my weekly this week?
Nice.
Is it you?
Is me.
Very nice.
Is me.
So for the people, what is your assessment of it in mime form?
Oh, I've got a really good Tess. You mime it. I've got a really good sound for it. You mime it. Yeah.
The thumbs up, and the little.
Really? My mime is.
Wow. Wow.
Very nice.
So it's a very strong buff, which is nice to see. And finally, this one's very easy. The Leuta got a mag size increase, which Lazy estimated to be about double the mag size, which that's great. But at the same time, my only concern with it is that chews through the ammo twice as fast too. And that means sniper rifles didn't get an increase to their SDUs. So you're still working with a very limited ammo base. That's my only concern from that one.
Well, yes, 100%. But so flak with fadeaway, if you use Gorillas in the Mist, will probably not run out of a magazine now. So if you could probably get a full stack bot in, so it'll work out there. You won't lose any of your fadeaway time reloading. And the other person that would use it very well would be Mose, and more mag size means just maybe you spec into less ammo regen because she won't run out of it as much. So there will be some areas that it will improve on.
Full stack bot, you say?
Mm-hmm.
I seem to remember two gentlemen last week that were on the program that were talking about stack bots as well.
God.
I'm just saying.
Yes.
Yeah, well, they just do cursed crap. Cursed crap.
Oh.
I actually really want to try Stackbot. I want to try TBJ Quag putting Stackbot is fine and a tiny green man on fire. Everything is fine. I love it. Seriously, I want to try that build just because it sounds totally ridiculous. So that might be my next playthrough of things.
Yes.
Yeah, Punchbot deserves to go down in a pile of flames because that's broken. Stackbot, the class mod, Stackbot, the class mod on its own is a good class mod for flak, and you will do good damage. Don't confuse the Stackbot on its own versus Punchbot. Punchbot needs to go.
Wow, that's them. Oof. That's
before I
actually
play
shot
it.
fired.
Not before I play
It's
it,
not
please.
build versus build. It's just an absolutely broken interaction.
It's still pretty funny to hear.
Close your ears, devs. Don't listen to him.
There you have it. There are your hot fixes. Clearly, at least one of them is a very, very substantial change, and I'm very excited to kind of play around with all of that as the week transpires. Oh boy. All right. Tess, why did we bring Triple G onto the program today? And it's not just because he's one of the handsomest men I've ever seen in my life.
My miming ability.
Yes,
Correct,
his miming
yes.
ability, actually. That's exactly the reason. That's the only reason. No. We love Triple G, and Triple G has sort of inspired and led the charge to do a whole bunch of really awesome community events over the last little while. One of them was Endgame Rush, which was a really, really, really fun activity, and he's now doing a season 2. So can you tell us a little bit more about that, Triple G?
Sure. So for the uninitiated, Endgame Rush is all 6 proving rounds, all 3 slaughter arenas, the 2 takedowns, and season 2 will also include the raid boss Himovorus. So you have to do that as fast as you can. Last year, but the first season, Garwood won and Zane completely dominated. So we're going to make some changes. Now, we did another challenge a few weeks, or probably maybe a couple of months afterwards, called One Skill Tree. No, yeah, I forgot what it was called.
One Tree Skill, I think.
One Tree Skill. There you go.
One Tree Skill.
Thank you.
I always screwed that up too.
One Tree Skill.
Yeah, I was really proud of that name and I completely forgot it. So, and we restricted the field, but I can tell you now that we're releasing the shackles. We were going to ban rocket launchers. We're not going to do that.
Nice.
We were going to ban some completely OP stuff. We're not going to do that either. So we're just going to let kind of like no holes barred. There are going to be a couple of restrictions. So there's still going to be no complex route for fears of epilepsy and whatever else comes with the complex route, because it's just ridiculous.
I was wondering about that. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's I've done the rules. There's about 5, and one tree skill had, I think, about 15 rules. So it's just going to be as fast as you can. We're going to keep the characters in their own leaderboards as well, because the top 10 was just full of Zane last time, because Zane zooms, Zane main.
I'm going to
Zane.
show you
Zane
an
main.
example real quick
Zane Gang Gang.
while we chat about it.
So the one that you'll probably be seeing on screen in a second is the Amara mock-up. So there'll be an individual one for each vault one here. And it obviously as fast as you can. So you have to do the true takedowns, but everything else is as fast as you can. Your runs have to be recorded, and you will need to show your gear and your guardian ranks. No mods, no third parties, anything like that. But it's just as fast as you can do it. And the community really took it under its wing and kind of ran with it last time. We probably had, I don't know, maybe about 15, 16 streamers, and then some viewers that were really going at it as well. Now, a lot of them weren't going to be interested if we restricted the field. So that's why the rules are just completely relaxed. And it is just as fast as you can. And we have a lot of new stuff in the game now that adds. So obviously, the first thing that comes to mind is Zane got commitment nerf. So that isn't around anymore. But the toboggan now exists. The company man now exists. The kick charger now exists. So there's plenty of other things as well that people can be getting on with. So we need to wait until the true trials are out of the way, because those bosses will change week to week and the competition will run for 2 weeks. So we'll need to wait for that. And we'll probably wait for the cartels to finish, meaning that you will be able to potentially use a yellow cake during your run.
Nice.
So.
Excellent.
Nice. Cool. Okay. Yeah. So is there a link to the rules yet?
Not yet. We're just finalizing the rules, really.
I'm just going to link people to your Twitter and your YouTube.
Everything will be on Twitter. And I'm going to try, I don't know yet, I'm going to try and kind of some highlights. I'm going to try and watch as much as I can. Now, the difficulty is that these runs will probably take in anywhere between like 2 and 3 hours. But if there are any highlights where, I don't know, Quag was on for a really ridiculous run, and he may just about clutch a platform, that kind of thing. If I spot some moments like that, I might try and do some highlights. There was one particular clip that was doing the rounds last time where Epic NNG literally powered off his Borderlands game after he missed a platform on the Guardian takedown. So if I can catch those kind of things, I think they'll be really, really fun to watch. So, and the really good thing about last time was, like, I had people messaging me saying, I've never done True Guardian takedown before, but now I have. Like, only Asher was like, I never wanted to do it, but now I'm doing it and I've done it and it feels great. So if we can get more people doing that, the better.
Yeah, it's really cool. I'll just show you the mock-up one more time, just in case you're curious. That's what the leaderboards will look like. There'll be individual leaderboards per character. And stay tuned. I did put the link in chat, but stay tuned to twitter.com/triple_GZ1 to be notified of the rules and all the cool stuff. Okay.
So let's back up a little bit, because we just covered all of the news for those who, as you put it beforehand, are not initiated, but or rather are initiated. See, I even did it wrong. But for those who are not yet initiated,
you adopted the darkness.
Yeah, I was born into it, raised by it. You merely adopted the Endgame Rush. So for those,
it's my favorite quote. That is,
he's the best. Oh God, that movie overall. Well, not for now. Sorry, I'm gonna clamp down.
Yeah.
Love Batman too much. Okay, so getting back to Endgame Rush, for those who are not familiar with exactly what Endgame Rush is, what is the overall theme of exactly what Endgame Rush is?
So it's a sprint, basically. So one of the things that used to happen, how it came about was I'd stream on the Borderlands on a Sunday, and I'd take a build from my builds and then just try and do all the end game stuff as fast as I could, right? And bear in mind, the fastest I ever did it before we were really truly rushing was 3 hours and 45 minutes by GT Shorty. right? And by the time we ended Endgame Rush, everybody's builds, you weren't in the top 10 if you hadn't have done it by 2 hours and 30 minutes.
Which is
or 2 hours 45, I think it was. Like, it was, people were just doing crazy things with the Plague Bearer, with action skill start stuff. It was just, it was bonkers.
GT Shorty, just in case anyone's unaware, is one of the best builds out there. It's my personal favorite.
And so what are the objectives?
So the objectives are pretty simple. So strategy is an important thing. So probably the most difficult thing in Endgame Rush at the time was a Guardian takedown, because dying in some areas isn't that bad, but with the Guardian takedown where the checkpoints are so punishing, you would lose an inordinate amount of time. Now, the type of times that people were doing Guardian takedown, I think Garwa did a 19-minute Guardian takedown, was the fastest that he'd done. If you were doing, and this is how competitive it got, if you didn't do your Guardian takedown like sub 25 minutes, you probably weren't going to get anywhere near the times on the leaderboard, which is why we've started to split these out for character specific, to try and encourage other people to do it. So you want to do, like I said, all 6 proving grounds as fast as you can, then the 3 slaughter shafts as fast as you can, 2 true takedowns, Malawan and Guardian, and then this time Hermivorous. So it's going to be really interesting to see what order people take them on with, because there are speedrunners now that can kill Hermivorous in less than 60 seconds, but can that build also run around and do the proving grounds and do the takedowns? Because it's a very different challenge from Hermivorous to a takedown.
Will this also have to be done on Mayhem 10 or 11?
We're doing it completely on Mayhem 11 this time.
Okay.
So it's completely fair in terms of modifiers.
That makes sense. Cool.
Okay. So in that case, that means that somebody who goes to do Hermivorous will also have to kill Vermivorous as well.
Yes, and both of them have to die.
Okay. That's an important distinction to make, because some people might think, oh, well, I can just go and do Hemo and then just jump out and I'll be fine.
Nope. Gotta kill them both.
Yeah. I mean, most of the builds that I saw in Endgame Rush Season 1, I think would still be able to kill Hermivorous. But when it comes down to it, the difference between taking 4 minutes to kill Hemo and maybe it's taking 60 seconds to kill Hemo could be the difference of you being on that board or not.
The margins for error here are very, very tight. I'm actually curious to see. Well, you said some people are getting down to what, 60 seconds?
So so Quag's got a tweet that he keeps reposting. I think I've seen it like 3 or 4 times over the last 4 days, where people are trying to speedrun Hermivorous. All 4 Vault Hunters have killed it within 60 seconds.
Wow.
I think Zane is the fastest. I'm not 100%. So all 4 have done it within 60 seconds, which is crazy. But those are, I think Zane's with the complex route, so that's out of the question.
But yeah.
It's going to be really interesting to see whether the build that they've made specifically for just killing Hermivorous can do the Guardian takedown as fast, or can do the other takedowns as fast.
Right. I think what I'm looking for the most here, as somebody who tends to like observe and kind of interpret data a little bit, I really, really want to see what the times look like. Because everybody talks about balance between all 4 characters, right? If all 4 times are relatively comparable, and we'll give Zane a little leeway, because not because dev damage, but because he goes fast, and Moze and Namara sometimes can go fast too. Like, if you take out travel distance, if the times are relatively comparable, it means the balance of the game overall is phenomenal, right? That's a one takeaway one could have from it. Yes.
But I would probably say, in my opinion, Moze is the strongest Vault Hunter right now, but she won't win Endgame Rush.
Just because she doesn't move as fast?
Yeah, she doesn't have any, and she doesn't move as fast. So it's going to take a skilled player with like a Snowdrift to be able to keep up with a Zane. Because Zane just gets it naturally from his skill tree. Flak will do really well as well. Things like Rack Stab, which is Quag's build, that will do really well as well. But again, it's going to come down to the user on the other characters. Zane is going to come down to the user, but all the Zanes will be in the same ballpark, in my opinion. But then there's going to be some differences through the builds on the other 3 Vault Hunters, and it's going to come down to the skill of the user.
Okay.
Yeah, I would love to see Moe's on the leaderboards. Just saying, for those of you that are,
She did make it into the top 10, and it was Punchbot that did it.
She was like a 6th or 8th, right?
Yeah, and it was crackers as well. It was crackers because she Lazy's Moe's time was like 15 minutes faster than the next Moe's time. It was nuts, absolutely nuts.
Cool. All right.
And this is why I am glad that you're going to divvy it up into a category for each of them.
Yeah.
And like I said, I'm really excited to see what the top times look like for everybody.
Because we all have our favorites, and like I think a lot of streamers especially, but a lot of just top players play a lot of the characters, but we all have our favorites.
Yes.
So it's cool.
And it was nice on the One Tree skill. There was Assassin, somebody, I've forgotten the name now, it's been so long. A Brazilian streamer that actually won for consoles, and he was really good. The only issue with Endgame Rush is that you have to load from arena to arena, and old gen console load times will be an issue. But hopefully everyone that's going to compete is on new gen, and they're just as fast as PC.
Yeah, that's really, really awesome. I'm honestly jealous of all of you guys that have been able to get the new gen, because it's still unavailable in a lot of places. Rump. But that's okay.
Yes.
There are no prizes. It's all just for fun.
Sure.
I would have loved to done it for prizes, and I might also speak to the people that are going to participate and see if they will do it for charity and run a charity thing.
Oh, cool.
Alongside.
That'd be really cool.
That'd be really awesome.
But I want to speak to the majority of the people that will be doing it first. But yeah, it'd be really nice if we can tie that in, because it did pull a lot of viewers last time, and I was promoting all the streamers for the 2 weeks on who was doing what, and I tried to hype it up as much as we could. So if we can get some charity going at the same time, that'd be good.
Yeah, if you do the charity thing, I will attempt it. I won't be fast, just warning you now. But I will attempt it.
Yeah. I loved there was somebody who's, again, I'm terrible with names, so you shouldn't be offended, but on One Tree Skill there was somebody that did I think it was like a 4.5 hour Amara on what, no, it wasn't 4.5 hours. It was something like 5 times longer than anybody else, but they were second because no one had really attempted it on Amara. So like it was like they were always going to be the second fastest Amara in the world. Simple as that.
Yeah.
But this will push the envelope, because now with 4 different categories, people will be able to get highlighted for everything that they do, which is really nice to see. I can't wait to see it. Real quick before we wrap up here, Chop25 over in the YouTube channel chat is saying leaderboards for speedruns would be awesome for the takedowns, which I wish there was something internal that could be done for that. However, with the state of Borderlands not being an always online kind of, server side, everything saved kind of game, I've had, the experience of playing certain games that I love to death. I'll just say the genre is beat 'em up. And one of the things that people do is they hack the game and there are leaderboards in it, and they give themselves like 1 billion points. And it's just, what's the point of it at that point of having a leaderboard? So when you're playing a game like Borderlands, as cool as it would be, I could see somebody going in there, and because everything is saved client side, and just giving themselves like a 1 second time where they're boom, boom, done. And then they're at the top and they can't be taken now off of the top, because who's going to, once they're in there, it's whoever got it the fastest of the tide time. It's whoever did it first. Yeah. So it's a lovely idea. I think that if the big one, if Borderlands 4 is coming out, and if they do decide to take some risks and go with a more always online server side kind of situation, a la other games, live service games, that would be great to have leaderboards like that, to see how fast people could knock out some takedowns and bosses and boss fights and things like that too. But it's not something that lends itself to Borderlands 3, unfortunately, as cool as that would be, because I would love to see it, but I could see people abusing it almost immediately just for funsies, and that would just ruin the whole point of it. So.
Yeah, it's disappointing to see that. I've seen that in other games too, where like you try to get on the leaderboard and it's just like people at the top with impossible times. But yeah, it would be cool. I super agree that it would be cool. I feel like the only way to do it with the current game and the current sort of state of affairs would be for somebody to do it on their website. But I hate to even say to Mental Mars, like, do you want to put up a leaderboard for people to submit to? Because I feel like that would be so much work I mean, Triple G is putting in an insane amount of work just to do it for like a short-term event, right? So I feel like it would be really, really hard to do that long-term.
I do have an idea of something that could be used in the future, but it requires crossplay. So
that is coming.
That is coming.
Yes,
it is coming.
The idea of I don't have a name for it now, but bear with me. The idea is like a John Doe, okay? And if crossplay is available, then I give you a save file, okay? It has a selection of weapons in for a character, a selection of class mods. It's up to you to put that together, spec it, and then run the takedown as fast as you can. Everybody starts off from the same basis on that, and you have to use my save file, and how fast can you go?
That's actually
like that
really
idea.
great idea. Yeah, because
I like that idea a lot.
Yeah, you'd put stuff in it so people could do different builds. That would be awesome.
But I need crossplay for it. But if we get crossplay, and then we can get all the items and stuff to people on the consoles, then they can do it.
That would be amazing. Crossplay is coming. So question in chat, do we think it's on hold? It is not on hold. It is coming. We just don't have an exact date for you, but it is 100% coming.
Yes.
Soon, TM.
Fingers crossed it's very soon.
Yeah, hopefully soon, not TM.
There it is. It's a good way to look at it. All right. We should probably wrap up. What a surprise Triple G's on, and we went way over.
Oops.
Oops.
Really good considering you forgot I was here.
Oh!
Triple G.
That's the wrong one. Hold on. Is this one? There it is. That's the right one.
Triple G likes to give me a hard time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. That's so
Darn
good.
it.
God damn. All right.
Maybe I'll have to rope you into playing Borderlands 1 with me because of that. So I can
I'm
give
down.
some.
I want to play Roland. I'm down.
We should do that.
He did say that.
Yeah. That'd be fun. All right. I'll have some more opportunities to get my own back. It'll be good. All right, cool. You guys, thank you so much for joining us. Season Pass 2 is out now. Director's Cut is here. We really appreciate all of you guys joining us today and every Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific. Thank you all so much for joining us. If you're enjoying the show as much as we love doing it, please make sure to follow on YouTube, on Twitch. Make sure you have notifications set up on Spotify, SoundCloud, iTunes, TuneIn, YouTube Music, Stitcher, and you can find Triple G. Where Triple G? On the interwebs?
Twitch is _G. Twitter, add a Z and a 1. And YouTube is just Triple G as well.
And Mitsu?
Twitter.com/Mitsu Show, MITSUSHOW. If for some reason you want to hear the inane ramblings of a man who's prepping for E3 as hard as he possibly can, please, by all means, follow me on Twitter. Otherwise, I don't know. You'd follow me and unfollow me in a day because you'd be like, you're an idiot. And I'd be like, yes, you are correct. Twitch.tv/Mitsu. I've been thinking a lot more about streaming, not necessarily consistently, but at least coming back and saying hi every now and again. Especially lately, there's been a lot of conversations had internally and externally in the community, and I'm kind of tired of just writing about it. Now I feel like I need to talk about it, and it's stuff that I don't necessarily want to talk about here on the show, but probably does need to be said. So twitter.com/Mitsu Show, MITSUSHOW, and twitch.tv/MITSU. Tess, where can they find you?
Right here on the Borderlands channel a lot. I've been super busy with behind the scenes stuff, but I'm gonna try to maybe stream later today. If not today, then maybe Sunday here on the Borderlands channel. doing some Borderlands stuff and chasing those diamond keys because I need them. But also on my channel this Saturday, I will be celebrating finally. It was delayed a couple weeks, but 7 years on Twitch, which is insane, crazy. And then next Saturday, I'll be on my channel again doing a charity stream for Extra Life with AMD, and it's going to be really cool. That is at twitch.tv /Tessachka, Tessa, TESSACHKA. And you can also find me on Twitter and on Instagram at Tess Games.
Cool. There you have it. All right. On behalf of Tess, myself, the entire content creation team, thank you so much for joining us as you do every single week. Now go forth and make some mayhem.